Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video we are going to solve the Sudoku grid with the cells that we capture from the camera. Let's get started. So in the last video we saw that we could display the numbers, but we couldn't distinguish the zero. And that is normal because the zero is an empty cell and we can't predict from an empty cell. So instead of defining whether the cell is an empty cell or not, what we could do is we set a default value here, the digits, and we can also set the probability to 100%, and we can also move these two lines, detected and probability, there. So if the cell is empty, then we won't have any contours, so all of these loops will be skipped, and then we will have the 0 digit and the 100% probability. And now we want to store the numbers, so we create an array list called digit lists, and and at each row we append the digits into that list, and then we return it. So the next step is the algorithm that will solve the Sudoku. So I will not go to the full details, but if you are really interested, let me know in the comments below, and I will make a video especially on that in details. So first we have the solve grids, which is the two-dimensional arrays of the Sudoku numbers, and we get an empty cell from it. And if we don't have an empty cell, that means that, okay, well done, we have solved the Sudoku. But else, which will happen most of the times, we get the row and the column from that empty cell. So that find empty definition is defined here. So for each one, so we loop for each cell, and if a cell is equal to 0, which is an empty cell, then we return the coordinates of the row and the column. So back up there. So we test for a range of 1 to 10, and if the valid, that's another function that I will talk about, we pass the grid, the I, which is the number that we are looking for, and the coordinates of the cell. And if it's valid, then yeah, okay, we can assign it, and then we are calling this function again. So that's how we call a recursive function. So we call this function again with the grid that we have added the I, and if we have loop it for all, like if we ended here, we can return true. So now we check the is valid function. So here we are checking whether a number is not duplicated in a row, same for the column. And here it's a bit more complicated because we need to check whether a number is not duplicated into a box. And if it's then return true, and otherwise we can just return false. So now we can carry on. So a few changes that I have made here. So here we get remove the classify function here that converts the Sudoku grids into an array of digits, and instead we return the image, the image corner. So save that, and in the while truth function, so we get we catch the image return by this function, the contours, that the one we have just talked about, the return. And now we get the Sudoku grid through the classify function. And by the way, I have put this in a try except because not at every moment the function will return an image. It will return only if it detects uncontrol with an area that is above 60,000. And so basically most of the time it will just return a non-type thing. And instead of just saying, okay, if this is an untype a non-type image, then don't do anything, because for an array it is very difficult to implement that. So that's why I have implemented the try on except block. So now let's talk about this. So we have Sudoku 2D equals to an empty array, and from 0 to 9 we append a row in a cell. So basically the Sudoku that we get is just one single array, and we want a multi-dimensional array for the Sudoku algorithm because it is how this works. So we convert this, which is single dimension array, and this is a two-dimensional array. So we create that, and now we solve the Sudoku 2D and we print the Sudoku 2D. So I think we are ready to run that now. I'll just use the hard covered notebook so we can so we can improve it. Okay, so now notice that for the 0 we don't get any image because there is no need to do that, but below each image we have the detected version. So we have the 227. Okay, so I think it must has be finished now. Okay, so we get this. I think it has taken the controls of inside the 6 number, but it didn't get anything. I think it has understood that it is not the digit as I wanted. So we just scroll down, and yeah, so that is the original single dimension array that we had from the Sudoku, and that is the solved version of it. And that's it, we are done with this video now. So in the next video we are going to build ourselves a Sudoku grid from OpenCV and put the number inside, and obviously we will use different colors to represent what were the original and what were the new one that we have detected. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe if you really enjoyed this video and like this video, and see you next time.